Hello folks, hopefully you're having a good day and things are going well in the land of, whoever you are and wherever you are. We're halfway through the week, and if you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below if you really like what I do and you want to buy me a pint or something. And also, going forwards, if you want to help the channel grow, then oh my god, there's a big spider in my room. There is a big spider in this office. Well, that's not me for 6. I'll keep this in the recording though. Why not? The dangers of spiders, everybody. Do you know they get rid of the flies though? You should leave them alone, as long as they don't come anywhere near you. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. If you like what I do, then please share the channel around, share the video around, make sure that people know that I'm here, because in all honesty, yes, it helps me, yes, it helps the channel, but the amount of times that I sit in like a cafe or something like that and I'm checking my phone and I'll get a text from somebody or an email or a comment saying, look, you really do help me, thank you very much, and you're helping my mental health and all that. And I just think, yeah, it's a shame that, like, we aren't one of the bigger channels, and I don't want to. I've always said I loathe the day that I become a huge channel. That's not what I'm in this for. It's mainly just to make sure that we're helping people and we're getting out there and we're actually doing a bit for people. And the more people subscribe to the channel, the more people watching the content, it means the more longer form content like this that I can do, the more script writing for videos like I did for this one I can do, and the more I can entertain you and hopefully help you out with some mental health. If you are having any troubles mental health wise, head on to the Discord down below. Make sure you sign into that. It is free. You don't need to give me any money for that. You don't need to pay for anything. You can just jump on there, do your own thing, have some fun, and speak to people that are in the hobby who want to help you out and want you to be happy. And that's just what we're all here for. So, let's jump on with the actual video. So the video, as you can tell by I keep looking at that spider, it's freaking me out. The video, as you can tell, is the worst kinds of Wargamers, or similarly, I might rename it to something else in the actual title. But recently, I had the absolute honour and privilege of attending a 750-point game event run by a friend here in the northwest of England. This was to mainly get my head around how an event like this size would run, as my friend Ian, hello Ian by the way, actually runs them across Europe for a living. Like, that's his job. He sets up conventions and tournaments for most of the big boys in the hobby, from Magic the Gathering to Warhammer and beyond. And hopefully, very soon this summer, we will also be doing our own Northern Exile invitation event to get going in Liverpool over a weekend, or over one day on a weekend, where people can get together in the city, have a city break maybe, drink loads of beer, play some hobby. We'll have a big prizes, we'll have all that sort of stuff. I'm sort of nailing down a venue now. I've narrowed it down to 2 venues that I really like. I'm just deciding which one to go with, and then I'll get the dates up so everybody knows what they're doing and things like that. So all that will be available in the summer. So if you want to come and meet me in person, or you want to come meet other people from the Discord, or other people that you might have met through the channel in person, make sure you go to you keep your eyes peeled for that one, because it is a big announcement. It's the first tournament that we've done, and it should be really, really, really fun. So Ian has this amazing job, right? And I go to this new event. This kind of event for him is something he does for free to basically keep his skills sharp. And he invited me to come along incognito. I headed to the community hall and tried not to talk, as I've been told by folks outside of the northwest that my voice is quite distinctive. If I'm in a games workshop or I'm in a store and I start talking, I have had people say, "Are you that dude?" Sometimes. I know it's a small channel, but this is not as big a hobby. I'm only understanding now how close knit the hobby is. It's ridiculous how close-knit it is. But so for somebody like me to be recognised, God knows what it's like for people who are actually famous and actually know what they're doing about this kind of thing. Anyway, I did see one person wearing a Get in the Sea sticker on their gaming bag, but I was a bit too shy to approach them as they looked kind of busy during their game, to be honest with you. So I just wandered around, arms folded, making little notes and go, "Oh yeah, that's good, carry on. Anyway, whilst watching people roll dice and examining body behaviour, or, body language, I got to thinking who the best kind of wargamers actually are, because some people seemed like they were having a genuinely good time. Then it happened. Arguments started, and I was kind of shocked. Lots of hand waving and gesticulating was flying around, accusations, things like that. I turned to Ian as he sent some rules lads over in to sort out the commotion, and I asked him if this kind of thing was common at all in the events that he ran, and he just shrugged and laughed and said, "Of course, mate. You know, get 4 nerds to examine the same rule, and you'll get 8 different interpretations, and none of them will even agree with each other." And that got me to thinking suddenly on something else. I was beginning to see why Ian had this job in the first place and was paid quite handsomely for it. He had to put up with this on a daily basis, and I got to thinking about this video. Who are the worst wargamers out there? What archetypes are there, and how can we combat them? A brief disclaimer before I go any further though. First things first, if you have ever been guilty of things like this video is not an attack on you. It's an investigation into what we can do to change certain things that make the hobby worse for everyone. Alright? There are 5 main archetypes. I went through asking people questions and really having a lot of thought into this, even going over my old Hobby Nightmares and other channels that do content similar to Hobby Nightmares to find out who the archetypes were in this kind of phenomenon. This has taken me a couple of weeks to research, so you know, think of it what you will. I am not a psychiatrist. I can't do anything like that, but I can tell you what I've seen in the hobby and what other people have told me they've seen in the hobby, and where the 5 main archetypes that these behaviours kind of meld into. Right? All right. We're going to go one by one. We're going to go one by one about all of the things that we don't like about these archetypes and how we can possibly change them. So, archetype 1 is the cheater. Right? Alright. First things first though. You can cheat without knowing. And sometimes get caught in a grey area of, like, do I say this rule, I got this rule wrong earlier, or just roll with it? The other dude seems to be having a good time anyway, right? We've all been there. It sucks. I'm not saying, if you've done this before, I am not saying you're a treat. I'm not saying you're even a bad person. Everyone's been there. I've been there. Sometimes I've been there once a game. If I'm new to an edition of 40k, once a game I will get something wrong that benefits me, right? Because I let my excitement get the better of me. And then later on I think, maybe that wasn't right, and then I read it up and go, my god, that wasn't right. Oh my god, I cheated. No, I didn't. I just got something wrong, right? I'm not saying you're a cheater. You just got something wrong. Now, if you continue to know that you make a mistake and you keep making it, that's when you become a cheat. But hiding dice rolls, fudging dice rolls, reading rules from your codex and making rules up or getting them wrong, as in, you know, reading the codex without showing it to your opponent to quote a rule, making rules up or just getting them wrong in ways that always give you an unfair advantage, that's not on. It not only cheapens the game's integrity, but wastes the time of the person opposite you. This is a hobby that takes ages and ages to do properly, and it can be exhausting. Missing rules, I'm telling you now, isn't cheating. Neither is making mistakes. But there are so many people who seek to take advantage of this grey area that it is insane. We need to give people the benefit of the doubt, sure, but oh my god, the amount of people who want to take the piss with this kind of thing beggars belief. I'm going to give you a short anecdote from a time working at Games Workshop. And this is about 2 months into my first role at Games Workshop. I was working in a store in the Midlands, and generally having a good time. I'd moved to a new city, so I was a bit terrified, but you know, I was getting on with it. And I was never really a big wargamer. As in, I was always huge into Warhammer. I loved painting the models. I was very, 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 very into the lore. I read most of the books. I was really on top of things back then. And I absolutely loved the lore. The spider's gone. Where is it gone? The spider has gone. Where is it gone? God, it's like Alien. It was just there, now it's not there anymore. Anyway, I was really into the lore, and that was my main thing. I think that's what got me the job, was the passion for like the lore and the background and the storytelling, because that's essentially what you do as a Games Workshop guy, as a Games Workshop retail assistant. You're giving intro games, and if you've got a really good storytelling perspective already, you're going to be good at doing intro games. You're going to be very, very, very good at that. So anyway, so I once had a guy in the store I was working in. I was playing a game with him, right, whilst our manager wasn't there. And he was telling me that his Dark Eldar could deep strike, shoot, and charge in a certain formation. So every single model in this formation in 7th edition could deep strike, shoot, and charge, right? Again, those of you who are Dark Eldar players will know there is no such rule in 7th edition, but he called it the Blacklight formation or something from his codex, and asked if I would like to read it. Of course, I said no, because I trusted this guy. You know, he was an older wargamer, he knew what he was doing, so no, I wasn't really into the rules. So I loved my Space Marines, I loved my Grey Knights, but I didn't really know the rules of every faction in the game, so no, I said no, let's carry on. Anyway, I went along with it, only for him to, of course, beat me, and I lose, and I shake the guy's hand, no issues, right? No, none whatsoever. Later on, Skyhammer guy, someone I've mentioned on the channel before, who took really powerful lists all the time, and knew the rules of basically every codex in the game at that point, right? He came to me and told me not only was this other guy bragging about beating a Games Workshop staffer, quote-unquote, but that the formation he was using was completely made up. He did it to show how little I knew about the rules to his friends. I'm not going to lie, I was kind of crushed as I was new to the job, and I was still kind of unsure of myself, you know. And I threw myself into making sure our manager, who was a piece of work, and if you know anything about the channel, you know what this guy was like. I threw myself into making sure our manager stayed off of these people's backs, so that they could just enjoy the hobby in the store. Only for a guy like this to essentially take the piss out of me for not knowing every rule in every book. Bit of news, people, it's not a Games Workshop staffer's job to know all of the rules. It's their job to sell you models and make sure you're having a good time in the store and are safe in there while you do so. The fact he did it via cheating just makes it all the worse. From that moment on, I watched his games like a hawk and managed to catch him several times cheating, which eventually led to a blow-up argument I will get into another time. But don't cheat. This is the kind of company you keep if you do, right? The way you combat cheating is you give the person the benefit of the doubt once, right? And you gauge who they are. If there's someone who is new to their codex, give them the benefit of the doubt once, right? And if they keep getting it wrong, keep pulling it up. If they keep getting it wrong and they're doing it in a way that's, you know, negative towards you in the game, as in they're beating you because of a certain rule, then you need to stop the game in its tracks and say, that's not how that rule works, dude. We've covered this a few times, alright? It doesn't work that way, it works this way. You know, I'm not accusing you of anything. It's just, you know, I need you to play the rules as they are in the codex. That sounds harsh, but I'm telling you now, the minute you do it to a good wargamer, they will sit down and go, well, shit, I really should read my codex a little bit more and get this rule right. So the next time, and by the way, encourage good behaviour. If that guy then starts to say the rule as it was and goes, oh, no, hang on, and he self-checks himself, goes into his codex and reads it out and plays it then the correct way, then you go, top man. Yeah, that's exactly how it works, dude. Awesome. Right? Give him a bit of positive feedback. Yeah, cheers for that, dude. Yeah, thank you for that. I know it's an extra effort to look at it, but, you know, it means a lot to me that you're willing to do that. I'm really enjoying this game with you. This is cool. Right? That lights such a fire under a guy to make sure that you're having a good game. Right? So if someone's getting the rules wrong, call them out for it, yes, but do it in a polite way. And then as soon as they do it correctly, and they look at their codex and they do it correctly, then you say, cheers for that, mate. Thank you very much. You know, that's awesome. Good attitude, right? There's nothing wrong with saying good attitude. Because if he says, oh, what's a bad attitude like? Then say it to him. Yeah, there's guys out here who would get really annoyed with me for even suggesting that they might be cheating or doing something like that, you know? Anyway. Archetype 2. The sore loser / winner. I put these into the same place, really. Being a bad winner, to me, is worse than being a bad loser. If someone is a bad loser, at least you had the satisfaction of a win over them. And maybe they are having a bad day, and this is taking them over the edge on their bad day. A sore winner is someone who likes to kick people when they're down, or they are simply a complete narcissist. I'm going to go back to my time in America, and I've said this before, it's not really a wargaming story, it's more of a tabletop gaming story about board games and things like that. My missus at the time, when I was in America, was a very, very, very bad winner. She was really good at board games, but she was an awful winner. Now, I used to be, back in the day, a really bad loser, but since therapy, and since, like, you know, being working Games Workshop and losing a lot, right, in my early time, it sort of beat out of me this sore loser mentality, and I started to just take the game as it was. And I took those experiences into other forms of tabletop wargames. Now, you can't really rile me up unless you're being a dick, right? And this woman just knew how to push my buttons. She just could not let it go if she won. She would rub it in your face. She would tell you how bad you were at the game. She'd start labelling your mistakes that you made and how she outwitted you in certain situations. It was awful. And in the start of that relationship, when she would do that, and she would do it to her parents as well, who wouldn't step in and like have a go at her for it, I'd thought, well, it's cute, you know, she's into board games, it's fine, you know. Only later on did it start to slip more and more and more into being overt narcissist territory. The only way I could get around this behaviour was, so there's this game cafe that's close to my house in Liverpool, right? It's called Sugar and Dice. If you've never been there and you go to Liverpool, make sure you go check them out. It's a lovely little place and you'll really enjoy it. Now, she used to love going there when she visited the city, and I stopped taking her there. I stopped. And when she queried, said, oh, do you want to do this? I said, no, not really, you know? I don't want to go there. Why? I'm going to be honest, darling, because you are a terrible winner. You're a terrible winner, and you push my buttons. And it's not just my buttons that you push. I've played games with friends when you've been there, and they've gotten annoyed. And these are not people who naturally get annoyed at the table. And they've been annoyed and said things to me in the past, like, say, hey man, do you mind if she just tones it down a little bit? Because it's a bit much, right? She got upset. You know, rightly so. If people are talking behind your back, you're going to get upset. But this is how it goes. And I said, look, you know, I will take you there as long as you promise me you don't act in that way. But you know what? She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it because she didn't think she was doing anything wrong. But the thing is, I sidestepped that behaviour by saying, look, I'm not enabling you to do that to me anymore. I'm sorry. It's shitty behaviour and I don't appreciate it and I don't want it. Right? Eventually, we did get back to playing board games again, and she did rein in her attitude. And she did it in her own time. It takes a lot of mental strength to be able to take a hit like that to your self-esteem and just go, let's just play some board games then, and then immediately be good, right? I knew she was not going to want to go to Sugar and Dice. I knew she was not going to want to play board games for a while after that. Eventually, when she did, her behaviour was sorted out a somewhat. But there were always times when I would say, yeah, I'm done playing this game with you. You know? That's the only way I could handle it. So if you're in a similar position, either put them on the don't play list, okay? Or if they are being, you know, absolutely terrible winners and they are good friends of yours or partners, say to them what's bothering you about their behaviour. And if they come out with the sore loser thing, saying you're just being a sore loser, that's when you kick them to the curb. That's when you say, okay, mate, right, I've tried to be reasonable about this, right? But your attitude when you win is abysmal. It stinks. And I've tried to come to you in good faith, and you've resulted in insulting me and going after my ego, which is like a small dick energy move in the first place. You know, I'm not about this. I'm not playing with somebody who does this kind of thing. I'm leaving, right? Your time in the hobby is far too precious to waste it on stress and misery. Okay? That's how I would deal with a sore loser / winner. Mainly a sore winner, because I think they're worst. They're worse. And I think there's underlying issues to being a sore loser, but we're getting to those later. Archetype 3. Yeah, we're only at number 3 in 5. So if you're getting fatigue at this point, we've got a long way to go. The unwanted mentor. A lot of women who are watching this video have just perked up and gone, ooh, this has happened to me. Sometimes you just want to roll some dice and not be told how to do everything all the time. This can come in many forms, from unwanted gaming advice to full-blown tutorials on painting, when you just want to sit there and get this coat of Chaos Black on before your next game, right? The wannabe Duncan Rhodeses of Games Workshop stores is an infuriating thing that thankfully the staff don't really have to put up with, but my lord, do others need to. This phenomenon tends to target women as their audience, as they just assume that any lady who has wandered into a Games Workshop store must either be lost or in need of their tutelage. Neither of which are normally the case, and this is the thing. This is the hardest one for me, or one of the hardest ones for me, because it's coming from a good place. This person's trying to help you, they're trying to make you understand the hobby, they're trying to make sure that you know what you're doing and you're getting the best out of the hobby, but my god, some of these unwanted mentors, their teaching styles are rooted in egotism and not help. They want to show you and people around you how much they know, like Daddy Big Bollocks swinging his dick around, right? But that's not the case. You come over like an absolute tool. You come over like a douche. Nobody wants to be around somebody who gets on their soapbox and wags their fingers at people for playing the game wrong, or painting their models wrong. I've seen somebody approach somebody who was painting Blood Angels once and tell them they were painting their fucking Blood Ravens wrong. Can you believe it, right? It does happen. If you're one of these people, do not do this. Do not give advice unless you are asked to give advice. If you are asked for your opinion, give it honestly, succinctly, and politely. Right? And if it's a negative opinion, give them ways in which they can get better at what they're doing. But unless you're asked for advice, do not give it. You are not the be-all and end-all person in this hobby. You are not a teacher. No one's paying you to be there. Shut your mouth, watch your models, get on with your games. Okay? This is the line I come down on. I know other people, I think Mac from Outer Circle probably has a different opinion, because Horus Heresy is very much, not an elitist hobby, but it's very much a, listen, this is the standard. This is the standard. You need to be at this standard, or you're going to be chewed out for it. Your models need to be at this standard. Your modelling game needs to be at this standard, and your rules knowledge needs to be at this standard. Because we're a specialist game. That's how we are. I'm the other way. I am the other way, right? And I'm fully with you in that the reason why Horus Heresy is kept as such a pure game that a very specific part of the hobby enjoys is because they gatekeep. And sometimes they gatekeep in a positive way. The more you make things accessible to everybody, the more dross you will get into the hobby. And those dross is what we are discussing right now. People who do Horus Heresy have gated off their side of Warhammer and gone, we'll just be here, thanks, we're okay, right? And as soon as you start coming in there with your mental politics, or your neckbeardedness, or your sore loser / winner, they go, no, you get the fuck out. Right? As soon as you come in there with your grey models that you bought on eBay, no, get the fuck out. I don't mind that, as long as you are letting people know what the standard is, and then how to reach that standard, if it's a hobby-wide standard. No problem with that, right? My issue is, normal 40k people, Horus Heresy is a thing all to its own, and if you get into Horus Heresy, I strongly advise that you speak to the people in that side of the hobby first. Mac is a fountain of knowledge on that. Head over to the Outer Circle and have a word with him. He will soon set you straight on the standard that is required to be a hobbyist in the Horus Heresy, and to be in one of these veteran groups. That's what they are. A lot of Horus Heresy guys are veterans of this hobby who want to mould people and make sure that people are doing things right and are actually enjoying the hobby as it's supposed to be enjoyed, as far as they're concerned. Warhammer as a branch thing, though, Warhammer as a complete thing, if nobody has asked for your opinion, keep it to your fucking self. Okay? If you're not in a specialist game place where the standards are made very clear to you, and the rules of engagement are made very clear to you, if you're not in one of those places, keep your opinions to yourself. If you're in a Games Workshop store, if you're in a hobby group, if somebody hasn't asked you for your opinion, don't give it. Don't give it. Especially if it's a mentory thing, like I want to try and teach you how to do things a little bit better. No. If I haven't asked you, they will get there in the end. They will get there in the end. And you know what? If you walk in there and your models are banging, if you have black painted models, right, and I have black painted models and yours are amazing, I will ask you, dude, how did you do that? Do you think you can help me do my models like that? And you know what? You will probably say, yes, of course I can. Here's how to edge highlight in greys and whites. Here's how to make sure that you're using inks properly. Here's how to make sure that you're offsetting the black colours with other colours on your model. Wonderful. Brilliant. Thank you. And you move on, right? But unless somebody's asked you for your opinion, dude, don't give it. Let your own models on your own example be the teaching mode that you're using, right? Behave the right way in the hobby. Game the right way in the hobby. Paint the right way in the hobby. And watch other people look at you and go, I want to be that guy. And you know what? The amount of people who will approach you and say, listen, dude, how did you do that? Oh, it's very simple. You just do this, and this. I can show you if you want. Okay, cool. That's the mentor. That's a wanted mentor. Don't be the unwanted mentor. Okay? Especially not to women that you see in the hobby. For fuck's sake. Some of them are just there to do some painting, alright? Just leave it be. Okay. Archetype 4 of 5. The thinly veiled extremist. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a shouty one. We've all heard them. We've all heard somebody say this. Are you ready? Right. Quote, I don't hate gays, black people, trans people, but, ellipses, unquote. We've all heard that. We've all heard it. And it always sucks. Even worse are the people who call awful takes like, you know, getting what Adolf Hitler meant in Mein Kampf as based. I've seen that before. I've heard that before. Right? If you're one of those people, get in the fucking sea. It happens way too many times in hobby stores for us to be able to deny that our hobby somehow attracts these absolute fucking neck-breathing cretins. And yes, the other side is just as bad. Wearing t-shirts with Che fucking Guevara on them, or affirming their sexual orientation through a t-shirt slogan or something, like it's some sort of fashion statement, and daring anybody to even slip once by misgendering them, or God forbid, telling a joke that they don't quite agree with. Then they guilt you, throw insults, tell you that you are the worst kind of bigot, and just about stop short of housing a sit-in protest in the store. Take both of these groups of people, put them in a battle royale, and watch them do nothing. I mean that. They are all talk. They are vapid and they are empty. They are hollow people. They need an ideology to fill up that space where their personality should be. Get them out of the hobby and get them in the fucking sea. That is what we do with these people, right? Zero tolerance. Absolutely zero tolerance. Hold the line. Do not let these people in. If you see something you don't like, if you see something that's complete bullshit, if you see somebody trying to be based or trying to be fucking, you know, socialist, you know, extreme socialist or whatever it is that they're talking about these days, or whatever, dude, get them the fuck out of there. No, zero tolerance. Get out. Get out. You are the only people. You are the only people who are beyond redemption in this list. You are the only people who need to fuck off and stay there until you grow up. You're the only people. You're hollow people. You're crab people. Right? You belong in the fucking sea with all the other crabs. That's where you should be. And that's my advice for dealing with these people, by the way. The thinly veiled extremists, right? Right, the people who say, hey, you know, Hitler wasn't all that bad, right? Or oh my God, you know, did you just call me a he when it's actually shit? Yeah, get him out. Get him out. I'm sorry. No, this isn't the place for that. This is not the place for that. Right? We're here to just sit here and enjoy the hobby. Enjoy being here. Enjoy being around each other. Okay? If you come into this hobby looking for an argument, if you come into this hobby looking to have a go at somebody because they haven't affirmed the way that you see reality as fact, you belong in the sea with the other creatures. I'm sorry. That's where you should be. Okay? Now, if you are an LGBTQIA person, look at me, I got that right. Bang. Look at that. Straight from the hip. Bang. There you go. If you are one of those people, and you have any issue with the things that I've just said, dude, I suggest you drink some Horlicks, right? You go speak to other people who are in your place, your place, you know, your gatherings or whatever, right? And you ask them whether you should, whether it's up to other people to affirm who you are. It's not. It's for you to affirm who you are. You affirm who you are, right? This is an amazing hobby. And it's an amazing hobby that brings people together. And it's an amazing hobby that doesn't give a shit who you are. I don't care. Listen, dude, I don't care whose dick you're sucking. I don't care. I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't, right? Don't care. I don't care who you're going out with. I don't care whether you define yourself as a woman or a helicopter or a sea turtle. I don't care. Do you like Warhammer? Right. Are you cool with me being cool? Cool. Then you belong here. Then you belong here. Right? If you want to come in and say, well, it's up to you to affirm who I am. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And both sides do this. Right? The right are a bit more sneaky. You know, they'll be like, well, yeah, they'll throw little things in there like, well, he didn't have all bad ideas. Or, you know, I disagree with a lot of Hitler's ideas, but... No, there's no but. There's no but. There's no... Dude, I'm a fucking historian. I'm telling you now, there's no but. Right? There is no but. Some people are just bad eggs. That just is what it is, dude. It is what it is. And you know, that's like saying, you know, Lenin had a lot of bad ideas, but... No. Dude. Come on. Right? I agree. Open political thought should be open. I agree with that. No problem. No problem at all. But if you're in a hobby space and you're saying things like this, there are deeper issues within your outlook. A lot of people who say, I disagree with a lot of things that Hitler says, but... If those people say something like that, right, they are masquerading as having like a 10% leaning towards what he's saying, you know? Where they agree with 10% of what he's saying. No, these people like sort of agree with 40, 50, 60, 70% of what he's saying. They're masquerading it. They're masquerading their shithousery by trying to get it in under the radar. Okay? And by the way, I've had a go at both sides here, so I want nobody in the comments saying, well, why'd you have a go at the right? Why'd you... You know, no, I don't. You're both knobheads. You're both knobheads. You are both absolute knobheads, and you deserve to go in the sea. Drown each other in there, and I will sit on the beach with some popcorn, laughing all the way, okay? You are the only people in this list who are beyond redemption. Get the fuck out of this hobby, and read some books, and grow up. Alright? Because there are some men, women, trans, whatever you are, there are some people here, mostly people here, doesn't matter what religion you are, what race you are, what creed you are, what sexual your orientation you are, what you identify as. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you like Warhammer and you're cool, you fucking belong here with us. You're a bro. You belong here with us. Right? But if you're one of these two sides and you've recognised anything in the behaviours that I'm talking about, go away. Right? Get some therapy. Get some friends who will tell you when you're acting like a twat. Grow up and then come back. I swear to you, you will be a happier person for it. Alright? Cool. Moving on. And the last archetype, Archetype 5, you know who it is. It's the neckbeard. It's the neckbeard. The poster boy for the bad wargamer. The ultramarine of dickheads. A man who combines all of the above traits into one gloriously fetid package. The neckbeard. You all know at least one. Everybody watching this video knows at least one. That's how prevalent they are in our hobby. But, here's the thing. I look at neckbeardness as a spectrum from 1 to 10. okay? With one being like, you know, a harmless guy who could do with losing a bit of weight, getting a shave and a wash, and should maybe stop wearing leather trench coats in the height of summer, you know? That's a number one. You know, he's a neckbeard, but he's, you know, he's fine. He's fine, you know? And it goes all the way up to 10. That person being a, you know, fedora hat tipping, small-dicked energy, angry, game-cheating, revolting customer who resembles a fully grown Cartman from South Park on a bad day if it were in reality and you took all the comedy away, right? Yeah, that's the worst form of neckbeard. And we have a slew of people across the hobby who fall somewhere on this spectrum of neckbeardness. And I do firmly believe that if you are within under 5 on that spectrum, you are savable. You are savable. And what I mean is you're savable by the layman. I'm a layman. I'm not a therapist, right? I'm just some dude. You are savable by any hobby chad around you who wants to take you under their wing. If you are under 5 on that spectrum in my head, you are savable. If you're above that, that's a professional help you need, son. That's professional help you need, and I can't give it to you. Go and get yourself some therapy, right? If you recognised any of those behaviours, right, go and get yourself some therapy. That's what you need, okay? The amount of neckbeards that I've seen be rehabilitated over a couple of years simply because they knew that their friends didn't like them. They knew that their friends weren't into them. They knew that they couldn't get women, and and they started to really resent women. And you know what? What drags most people out of that? Most neckbeards love their mums. Most, not all, most. Most are mummies' boys, right? So when I say to them, "Hey man, what do you think about women?" And they go, "Well, okay, cool. What about your mum? She's a woman. She not like..." Well, she's different. Well, no, well, hang on. No, she's not though. She's not. Your mum, this is going to sound really wrong, was somebody's bitch. Right? No, that sounds really wrong. But the reason why you're here, my friend, is because your mum was on all fours at one stage, loving your dad like there's no tomorrow, right? That's why you're here. That's why you're here. So yeah, she's a woman just like every other woman. So, you know, that's the one thing that tends to break people out. They go, yeah, maybe you shouldn't hate everybody just because people don't want to shag you because you have 3 bellies and 10 chins, right? It's not their fault you're fat. It's not. It's medicine, dude. I'm sorry, it's medicine. It's medicine. It's hard to take. I know it's hard to take. I know. It's not. If it was easy, you'd be looking like fucking Brad Pitt by now if it was easy, right? We'd all look that way if it was easy. It's not. You let yourself go, you look like shit. And that just is what it is. Doesn't mean you can't be a king, though, man. Doesn't mean you can't get there. Doesn't mean you can't go on that walk. You can't start getting a shower. You can't start trimming your beard down. You can't start making sure that you're grooming yourself and you're making sure that you're wearing your weight-appropriate clothing. It doesn't mean that you can't start adjusting your outlook and your attitude. And start reading the Stoics. Start getting involved in Stoic philosophy. Start making sure that you're talking to other kings who are out there trying to make something of themselves. Start pushing and making sure that the things that you're good at are the things that you're being paid for. All of those things meld into you eventually becoming a self-actualized man. And you know what? A lot of women don't give a fucking shit how fat you are, how fucking egregious you are in your hobbies, like Warhammer and shit. They don't give a fuck. The only thing that matters to them, right, is your outlook, right? Whether you're a provider, and whether you can actually do whether you can do some man shit, right? No woman wants to be a mum again to you. No, none of them do. None of them do. And nearly every bit of neckbeardness that I come across is fueled by a hatred of the opposite sex because you can't get laid. I swear to God. Almost everyone. I've come across so many since I've started this channel. So many neckbeards since I've started this channel. That, you know, I've spoken to, given advice to, worked with. You know, got them out of their own selves and tried to make something of themselves. There's this one guy, and I'm not going to name his name, but he sends me pictures of him at the gym, right? And this guy was a tubby little fucker. I'm telling you now. A tubby, neckbeardy little fucker. He'll know who he is. And I'll get another message from him. He's on the Discord. He sends you messages. And I swear to God, someone is going to go into my Discord and think that I'm batting for the other side. Because the amount of pictures this guy sends me of his stomach getting smaller, you know, his tits disappearing, you know, week by week, month by month, he's getting shredded, dude. Fucking shredded. And this guy was a tubby guy. This was not a guy who you would think could look like that. And looking at him now, I'm like, dude, you must be swimming in it right now. All you need to do is make sure that your attitude is on the right path, and you're right on your way. I'm not saying people who are shredded don't have an advantage on guys like you and me. All right, I'm an average-sized dude, but I'm not like Chippendale. I'm not like some sort of dude who's ripped, right? I'm not on that elite level of looks. They've got an advantage over us, but I'm telling you now, if you walk into a bar or wherever and your friends seem like they are loving being around you, and you're well-groomed, well-dressed appropriately for your size, you're smiling, you're laughing, you're talking to your friends, and you're like the life and soul, and you're the nucleus of your group. If you walk in doing that to a bar, and you walk straight to the bar, and there's beautiful women standing there, and then Henry Cavill walks in with his head down, you're getting a second look. I'm telling you now, Henry Cavill will get a look, of course he will. Of course he will. But by the third time he's bored them with the same fucking talk all the time, dude, you're getting a second look, and you will get good-looking women, man. It works. It works. And the only people who tell you it doesn't are the fucking neckbeards who don't try these things. Who don't try these things at all. They don't try them. Right? You can't tell me it doesn't work if you don't fucking try. That's how you solve being a neckbeard. You can't tell me it doesn't work if you won't even try. And the hardest step, it's a cliche, but it's true, the hardest step's always the first, man. It's always the first one. The first one sucks. It sucks so much. I hated it. I hate starting going to the gym. I hate starting going on walks and runs. I hate starting eating healthily. You know, and grooming myself and smelling good and being nice. But I tell you now, man, we are so lucky that women love us for more than looks. Yes, there are shallow women out there who will go off with Chad and Henry Cavill lookalikes and all that over you. Yes, of course there is. Of course there is. But there are also men who will go off with Scarlett Johanssons rather than the average looking woman who's really good for them. There are those dudes as well, right? Yes, those people exist. Of course they exist. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't. They do, right? But the amount of women out there who are good looking, well kept in their brain, you know, sociable, people that you'd want to take home to your parents, the amount of those women who, even if you are a bit overweight and you're a neckbeard in rehab sort of a thing, and you're working on yourself and you're getting yourself out there and you're having a laugh, you're having a joke, you're having a talk, those women will give you a second glance and a chance to talk to them. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. Okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the way you do that is by reps. Before you go and try and pull women, go out and try and pull men. That sounds wrong, but trust me. Trust me. Go out on a night out and start talking to blokes. Open blokes. Start talking to them. You know, start getting involved in groups that have blokes in them. Say, hey man, how's it going? Open them and make sure that you're talking to them and you're getting into a conversation with them and you're moving the conversation along, you're having a laugh and you're just effortlessly there having a good time. Once you've done that, then start talking to women every single time you go out. Try not to drink too much, talk to them every single time you go out and work your way into that. It's like having any muscle, dude. It's like having any muscle. Your social muscles require tuning and working out or they won't work. Okay? That's how you start to stop being a neckbeard. And it's all about talking to other people, making sure that you're there and you are good to be around. If you're good to be around and you're starting to take care of yourself, I'm not saying if you're a big fat bastard, right? I'm not saying you need to lose 8-9 stone. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Right? But you need to be working towards being healthier. Work towards being healthier. And as you're getting healthier, start dressing more appropriately for your size. Take off the trench coat. It's not impressive. You're not in a fucking anime, right? take off the trench coat, take off the black t-shirt. Make sure you're washing, make sure you're grooming, make sure that you put some aftershave on, make sure you shave properly, maybe even style. Go to a Turkish barber, dude. They would love you. Go to a Turkish barber, sit down and say, hey man, do something that looks cool with my facial hair. I don't know. Do something that looks cool. What do you think will look cool? And they'll do it for you. Turkish blokes are the shit. They will do it for you, man. They will make sure you're looking cool. You have nice, cool facial hair. They get your hair cut properly, right? They wax your nose, your ears, all that sort of stuff. You come out of there looking good, right? Smelling good. And you'll feel like $1,000,000, even if you're overweight, even if you don't fit into like, you know, if you're like size 18 waist, I don't know, 18-inch waist or whatever. Dude, doesn't matter. Not 18-inch waist, what am I talking about? Even if you size like 44-inch waist or even above that, right? Doesn't matter. If you're looking good, you're smelling good, and you're on the road to recovery, people gravitate around that. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen too many times to count. When people start to be rehabilitated, other people want to be around you. It's only when you look like you've given up, and you're a bottom feeder, and you're a neckbeard, that's when people don't want to be around you. And you're in that spiral, that downward spiral. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You think people don't like you, so you act like a neckbeard. People don't like you because you're a neckbeard. There we go. Down we go. Down the rabbit hole we go. As soon as you start that ascent, as soon as you even start the ascent, people are going to look at you twice. Alright? Those are the 5 archetypes and how I would solve them going forwards. What do you guys think? Have I been too harsh on certain groups? Am I out of my skull on certain things? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please keep it respectful. Please don't be smarmy little dickheads and try and make a point off of me, even if especially if I've addressed that point already in the video. People do that all the time, and it really does wind me up. So I just ignore you, right? If I've already addressed your comment in the video itself, it just makes you look like a dick because we haven't watched the video or you haven't listened to the video. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think the worst archetypes of Wargamers are? I love you a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more, probably a faction outlook on 10th edition, or we might do some more Hobby Nightmares. I don't know. Love you a long time. See you tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye.